He had a voice that moved hearts and a future lit by fame, but behind the scenes, a chilling mystery was unfolding. R&B legend Walter Scott vanished without a trace, and when the truth came out, the world was left speechless. Walter Scott wasn't just any singer. He was the voice behind one of the most iconic R&B hits of the 1960s, The Cheater by Bob Kuban and the Men. Released in 1966, the song was an ironic smash, warning women to watch out for smooth-talking men. But in a twisted turn of fate, Scott would fall victim to a betrayal that felt ripped from his own lyrics. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1943, Walter Scott had music in his soul. With a smooth baritone and magnetic stage presence, he became the frontman for Bob Kuban's band, a group that brought brass-heavy, danceable soul music to a white and black crossover audience. Their hit, The Cheater, climbed to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and made Scott a local star. He had charisma, talent, and the kind of clean-cut charm that made him a crowd favorite. But despite his early fame, Walter's career stalled after the band broke up. He kept performing at local gigs, staying close to home. But trouble was brewing, and it was closer than he ever realized. It was Christmas time, 1983. Walter had remarried and was living a seemingly normal life with his second wife, Joanne. But then he vanished. Completely. Without warning. No phone call. No note. Nothing. At first, no one sounded the alarm. Joanne told friends and family that Walter had simply taken off, perhaps gone to pursue a music career in Nashville. But months passed, then years. No one saw or heard from him. Something wasn't right. His son, Walter Scott Jr., and other family members never believed he would just abandon them. But without evidence and no body, police couldn't do much. Rumors spread, theories surfaced, but the case went cold. The question haunted his loved ones. Where was Walter Scott? And why wasn't his wife more concerned? For nearly 4 years, there were no answers, just whispers. Friends began to question Joanne's changing behavior. She wasn't distraught. She didn't push for media attention or organize searches. Instead, she began a new chapter with a new man. Joanne had started a relationship with a man named James H. Williams Sr., a local used car dealer with a dark past. He had money, he had a temper, and he had secrets. Neighbors began noticing how quickly Joanne and James had moved on. And behind closed doors, things were anything but picture perfect. It wasn't long before law enforcement turned a suspicious eye toward the couple, but without a body, there was little they could do. In 1987, nearly 4 years after Walter's disappearance, a shocking development blew the case wide open. James Williams' ex-wife, who had divorced him years prior, came forward with a haunting story. She claimed Williams had tried to kill her and had confessed to being involved in something terrible. Her revelations reignited the cold case. Police obtained a search warrant and began digging, both literally and figuratively. In April 1987, their investigation led them to Williams' backyard pool area in St. Charles County, Missouri. What they uncovered beneath the pool's concrete deck stunned the world. There, in a makeshift grave beneath the patio, was the body of Walter Scott, bound, gagged, and shot in the chest. He had been murdered and buried in plain sight. The man who had once sung about heartbreak and deception had fallen victim to both. It didn't take long for the gruesome puzzle pieces to come together. Investigators determined that Walter's own wife, Joanne, and her lover, James Williams, had orchestrated the murder. Their motive? Greed, jealousy, and the desire to eliminate Walter so they could be together without interference. But it was more than a simple love affair. There were financial interests involved. Life insurance policies. Control. Williams, described as manipulative and controlling, was convicted of first-degree murder in 1989 and sentenced to life in prison. Joanne Scott was convicted of second-degree murder and given a 5-year sentence, a shockingly light punishment for a woman involved in a cold-blooded plot. The public outrage was palpable. How could the woman who once danced to his music help bury him in concrete? Walter Scott's tragic end overshadowed his early success. But for those who knew him, family, fans, and old bandmates, he remains more than just a murder victim. He was a father, a performer, a dreamer who brought joy to others through his voice. After his body was recovered, Walter was finally laid to rest with dignity, and the community that had loved his music mourned his loss. Both the man and the promise of what could have been. Bob Kuban, his former bandleader, said in interviews that the tragedy of Walter's life shook him deeply, as if the lyrics of The Cheater had cursed them all. Look out for the cheater / he'll take your girl and then he'll lie. Those words hit differently now, don't they? Today, Walter Scott's story is studied not just as a case of betrayal, but as a chilling reminder of how quickly lives can unravel behind closed doors. His murder has been featured in multiple true crime series and documentaries, including Forensic Files and The New Detectives. And each time the story is retold, audiences are left stunned, not just by the brutality of the crime, but by the eerie way his song seemed to predict his fate. Yet, there's something enduring about Walter's voice. His music still plays on oldies stations. His name still rings out among R&B circles. And his story continues to spark conversations about justice, trust, and the people we let into our lives. In the end, the man who warned the world about the cheater became a tragic example of what happens when we don't listen closely enough. Walter Scott's voice was silenced too soon, but his story refuses to fade. It's a haunting ballad of love, betrayal, and justice delayed, but not denied. Let his life be a reminder. Talent can light up the world, but even stars can be swallowed by darkness if no one's watching. Rest in peace, Walter. Your song lives on. If this story moved you, share it. Comment your thoughts below and tell us, do you believe in fate? Did The Cheater predict the life of its own singer? For more true stories of music, mystery, and justice, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit that bell icon.